Hello and welcome everybody, this is Kris Sprudeln Grey casting League of Legends. I've got us a random rank game here today, so why don't you go ahead and grab those starting items and strap in. We're about to head into the Summoner's Rift. So as we get loaded in here, we'll take our standard tour of the lineups. For the blue team, we've got Jungle Fiddlesticks, Support Sona, Top lane Shen, middle Elise, and AD carry / marksman Tristana. Their counterparts on the red team are marksman Corki, support Blitzcrank, jungle Jarvan, top lane Rise, and another carry. In fact, this actually looks like who they're sending to the bot lane this game is their marksman is Varus. So it appears we actually have a mid lane Corki and an AP Corki as the item build suggests currently. So AP Corki, much in the same way as Tristana, a lot of Corki's abilities actually have an AP scaling and can make him quite dangerous through pure use of his abilities, as opposed to the normal builds of Corki as a marksman, which focus on him doing a lot of right-click damage and his abilities being used as more of a utility. So he's in this mid lane, he's got himself the double buffs, the blue and the red, so he's got that extra cooldown and mana regeneration, as well as the slow and burn dot. So he's going to be extremely dangerous right now, and as you can see, it's paying off. He's 2-0. As we get the summoners moved into their correct positions, we'll take a look at the item builds so far. Almost no goal difference, despite the 1 kill lead for red team. The CS difference is Tristana's already pretty significantly ahead. At 6.5 minutes in to have a lead of 48-34. That's considerable, but it doesn't look like she's gone back. She still just has the starting Dorn Blade. And she is about 300 gold up on her counterpart Varus. Both supports heavily laden with items, though Sona has used up all of her wards. Blue team has pretty good vision. You can see, based on these ward positions, they're concerned about the jungler Jarvan trying to use unconventional paths to get into this bot lane. And you can see his only remaining option is really to come from in lane. As AP Corki, the Baron himself, flies in and nabs a kill on this mid lane Elise. Now this is an extremely unusual pick, to be honest, for a mid laner. Elise is, in the current state of things, much more often seen in the top lane or especially in the jungle, where she can, because of her percent health damage based abilities, do significant amounts of damage even into the late game while building full tank. She needs almost no damaging items to still do incredible amounts of damage, especially against teams that stack lots of health. Good comboing here of Blitzcrank, Varus, and Jarvan. This is an extremely aggressive lane between the diving and knockups of Jarvan, Blitzcrank's pulls, and then Varus's slows, as well as his long-range sniping ability. They have tremendous kill potential here. Most of the summoners being used, though, Blitzcrank will have to be extremely careful with himself as Tristana gets more and more dangerous the higher level she gets. And that all comes down to the fact that Tristana's passive is granting her increased range as she scales up in level. So right now she's shorter range than Varus, but eventually not only will she get tremendous amounts of bonus attack speed from the rapid fire, which she's not even scaling at this point, but she'll also have a much longer range than Varus. This mid lane, Elise goes down again to this AP Corki, and Fiddlesticks is once more forced to be in this mid lane and make sure that valuable CS is not missed out on. But even he can't stand up to this assault from Corki. Corki is just too powerful right now. Even if Fiddle manages to pick up decent amounts of CS from this mid lane, which he gets all of it there, so that was good. he's wasting time here in this mid lane. If he has to be in vision of a creep wave or Corki in this mid lane, the other two lanes, as well as the jungler, know that there's no fear of a Fiddlesticks coming in and ganking them because he's in lane. They know exactly where he's at, and they don't even have to place wards to protect against it. And Elise is already dropped down to well below 1/3 HP and forced to go back. So Corki is absolutely dominating this lane, and this pressure on this single lane alone is allowing the other two lanes between top and bottom to have pretty good amounts of success. As you can see, Ryze, even with the recent nerfs to his range, keeping Shen really locked down here. Up against his turret, Shen is struggling to last hit, though he is up on Ryze, and that seems to be more to do with the fact that Ryze has been, for some reason, absent from the lane a lot. But he does pick up a kill there, doesn't die, should survive this ignite. But here comes Elise. She will jump in, she will pick up that kill. So good job by Elise. She really needs that. May get this. Does she have the repel? Does not have it yet. And Jarvan gets away just barely. But Elise picks that kill up, so it is at least a 1-for-1. Now, Fiddle's actually soloing this dragon. This is going to be incredibly dangerous for him. Corki, that was threading the needle, and that was an incredible shot there. Almost actually picks up Fiddlesticks as well, but does give the shutdown bonus gold to Fiddlesticks. So no dragon for the blue team, but they will get 2 kills out of it in the hodgepodge defense put up by the red team. Now Blitzcrank coming in. Doesn't see Tristana over that wall. Will jump in and we'll try and get this. Should easily get this. That fear is just so powerful from Fiddlesticks. Varus coming in though. Yeah, that did hit. That piercing shot did hit. And Tristana will go down. Fiddlesticks kind of gave up on that one. Low on mana, so I don't think he can actually cast anything right now. Tristana gets a little over-aggressive and dives into her death. Now, Elise actually hung out there at the top lane, it looks like, and Ryze came all the way back. Punches her in the face with his machine gun's volley of spells and gets the kill. It appears that we've actually had a lane swap, though I'm not sure if that's simply because Shen went to the mid lane since Elise was occupying his lane, or they actually formally talked out about switching because Elise is just getting dumped on by that Corki in the mid lane. And this is not where you want to be as Shen. You do not want to be facing up against a Ryze when you only have half your life. That turret, though, is going to do quite a bit of extra damage. Ryze backing off from this, oddly enough. I wonder if he must have heard footsteps calling, as they say. He must have felt like Fiddlesticks was off in the wings or somebody's waiting. They don't have vision of Elise or of Fiddlesticks. So Ryze will get that. Does go in and finish his handiwork off. Blue makes first blood on the turrets. So that brings them up 1-0 on the turret score. Very, very aggressive play here from Blitzcrank. Nice crescendo. Picks up 2 in it. The heal? Oh, not enough. And this will be a double. So red picks up 2 for 1. Corki evens the turret score by taking out his turret, now also adding insult to injury and steals the Wraiths. But Elise will, despite her troubles in this mid lane, pick up the tier 1 top. And it's a teleport Ryze, so he comes back in. They trade CC with each other. I don't know that Elise will be able to escape this. If Ryze gets one more stun, and he will fall back for fear of the turret. Smart move. But he now has his Rod of Ages and his tier, so he's got 2 stacking items. And the dragon has gone down. I believe that was picked up by the red team. So now red extending their gold lead. They are now at 3.5k gold here at 14 minutes and 20 seconds. Rise absolutely dominating Shen when he's in lane, but between the help that Elise has given him, as well as other objectives being focused on the map by his own team, Rise has actually lost the tower. That was interesting. So Varus goes down. This bot lane is being incredibly aggressive, but they're having problems communicating, it seems like, and they're not getting their combos off very well. Good ultimate here by the Fiddlesticks. Dives in with that Crow Storm and melts the Rise. Now Jarvan forced to flee. Between Fiddlesticks being able to life drain and pick his health all the way back up to full and having a blue buff and a Shen that's still above half HP, just too much for a single Jarvan who's building full tank to deal with. Bot lane, putting down some poke on the Blitzcrank. Now this Corki is just hammering away. Nobody wants to deal with him. He is 6-1-0, and he should get this turret. We'll have to wait for this next minion wave to come in, but it should show up. He'll take one turret hit. No big deal. And this will be a tier 2 mid. Oh, does get it. And we've got Chaos here in the top lane. Whoa! Jarvan waited just a little bit too long on that. Tristana picks up the double kill. So everything's just going crazy here now. Elise coming up to try and track down Corki, but gives up the chase, goes right back into lane. So Corki is really carrying this game hard for his team right now. 6-1-0 still. Has picked up both turrets in the mid lane, which gives Red the opportunity for tremendous amounts of map control. I've talked before in other games about how much map control you gain from that tier 1 middle going down and how it allows you to sort of form a crescent shape of new free opportunities to roam through the enemy jungle with. But now with the second one gone, you can literally control the entire jungle. You get the entirety of it. You don't just get to cut out a certain percentage of it anymore. And especially with good ward coverage, which Red has, they have okay ward coverage. They have the two main pathways through the blue side of blue jungle covered. The bot lane side could really use some help with wards, though. They've only got one in that tri-bush, it looks like. But without having that tier 1 down just yet, that's really all they can afford to put down. But this will go down. So now Red is up 3-2 in turret score. And now they are going to try and duo lane against this Corki. But he is a full 2 levels up on Tristana. And he is a level 9 Sona versus a level 13 Corki. He's just, you can see it in his positioning. He's just eyeing that Sona like it's fresh meat. And Sona's tied up to a stake or something here and can't move away. Oh, God. Here we go. Shen ultimate coming in. Stand United will bring Shen into this fight. But it looks like it's been canceled because he does not get in. Decides to just run in. I wonder, he must have started moving ahead of time because that would have put him in a great position for a flash taunt or just a taunt in general. Now he may actually pay for it with his life. Good Zonias by the Fiddlesticks. Forces everybody from Red Team back. Meanwhile, as these three hold this lane, bot lane is getting pressured tremendously by the Blitzcrank and the Varus combination. Both of whom will escape before the hit squad from blue team can arrive down there. We look at the gold totals and everybody. Support's fairly even, no surprise there. Tristana just ever so slightly ahead. Comes down mainly to minion kills, the difference, as they are both 4-2-1 between Tristana and Varus. Mid lane, a tale of two cities right there. Elise 1-6-1, whereas her counterpart Corki is 6-1-0. 3,000 and some change ahead for Corki. Junglers, both fairly even, almost dead even on CS. Fiddle has 3 kills and 1 death, whereas Jarvan has 1 kill, 1 death, and 6 assists. Top lanes, this Rise is beginning to become an issue. He's 3-2-1. He is over 1,000 gold, about 1.5k ahead of Shen, And he's got stacking items that continue to stack up as we speak. His tier is over halfway, and we've got the Rise teleport coming in. Where is that going to? Teleports into the river just behind... teleports in off a ward just behind red buff of blue. And he will catch this Tristana. Oh, does not rune prison, though. There it goes. Finally goes down, forces the barrier, and Corki adds another mark to the side of his plane. "20 minutes in, and this game is really, really falling apart for blue team. What they need to do is they need to be able to split push with Shen, but unfortunately, because he laned against Arise, he opted for magic resist and HP before getting the Sunfire Cape. Most Shens would actually opt for the Sunfire Cape, which enhances their ability to split push. And as you can see right here, that magic resist that he has built doesn't do him a whole bit of good when he's facing up against all 5 members of the red team. So that'll be the tier 1 and the tier 2 top lane. And it's 6-2 on turrets in favor of red. Red is doing a monstrous job of team fight and objective control here. Excellent crescendo, but unfortunately there's almost no follow-up. It's only Tristana here, and she does not have the damage. She picks off the low support Blitzcrank, but there's just so much damage potential between a double buff Corki, who's now chasing down Sona, a Rise that's nearing full stack on 2 of his items, as well as a nearly full health Varus and J4. Jarvan will sacrifice his own life in order to hopefully save the rest of his team. And it looks like it'll be good. Corki is continuing to run away, throwing those rockets back occasionally to ensure that nobody pursues. Looks like he has a big one lined up right here. Phosphorus Bomb deters the Fiddlesticks. Misses with the big one, and now we'll have to restack that up. Was that... Elise is now trying to engage 1v2, and Varus picks that up easily. Unfortunately, red team overstays their welcome and feeds back a double kill as well as double buffs to this Tristana, who is now 8-3-1. And that's... Tristana is what's known as a hyper carry, as in the later the game goes, the more all-powerful she gets. Between her Q and her passive, which stacks up her attack speed worth about 3 recurve bows in free attack speed, and then the increased range, which will make her outrange anything else in this game save for maybe Corki's missile barrage, she just becomes too powerful to deal with. It takes too much of a commitment to try and get her down. She has AoE when she's getting kills, so she's got great wave clear. She's also got the rocket jump and flash. So she just becomes she's so mobile. You just can't lock her down. She's very, very slippery marksman. Varus, on the other hand, since we're talking about the marksman rule, is more of a control type marksman. He does have percent damage on his ability, so he will scale well into this late game, but he doesn't get the free attack speed. What he does have, however, is great teamfight control. He can put down his Chain of Corruption, which, especially if he lands it well and gets multiple targets chained, locks down the enemy team. Oh, and he's forced to use it here and still dies. That you can see that extra range from Tristana coming in quite handily there. Actually able to pick Varus off despite being rooted to the ground by the Chain of Corruption. Anyways, Varus, if he lands a good Chain of Corruption and isn't getting caught out by himself like that in mid lane. And then he also has... Oh goodness, another kill to Tristana. He also has the Hail of Arrows, which is another slow. And then his Blighted Quivers is percent damage, and the Piercing Arrow for good long-range cleanup. So he really wants to focus on controlling the fights, which is something that red team should be very good at between the Jarvan knockups, Blitzcrank pulls and knockups, Varus slows and stuns, and then the stun of Rise. They should have excellent control. And that's what you're seeing a lot of here is they're grabbing people, they're locking people up, they're getting their picks. Unfortunately, they haven't been engaging in great 5v5 team fights. And that's really what they need right now is Red needs to be not worry so much about the individual picks, which they've been getting plenty of. They need to have a strong set of team fights here that ensures victory. That just basically drops the hammer and builds that giant wall of gold that Blue cannot overcome. I have no idea what that hook was. Blitzcrank cannot pull friendlies with his hook. So Fiddlesticks gets picked off here in the base. Corky has a blue buff for himself. And this is the disadvantage that Blue faces by having so many turrets missing. In fact, all of their outer turrets are now down. They don't control their own jungle. They may have a ward or two out, but they still can't go out here safely because they have too much of the region that isn't visible to them. And that lockdown between Rise and Corky just melts Tristana. Blue can ill afford these pickoffs that they're feeding back. They have nearly as strong a team fight as Red does, but what's happening is Blue's letting themselves get picked off a lot more often. It isn't a tremendous amount more often, as you can see. It's 14-22 in kills in favor of Red, so that's not the be-all, end-all of kill score differences. But these pickoffs and the vision that Red has are allowing them to get things like these Barons, as well as the Dragons that they picked up earlier. Dragon will be up in about 30 seconds, though I doubt Red will worry much about it at this time. Excellent pull. You should never, ever face check a brush like that. If you suspect the enemy team is Baroning, you need to have at least a ward with you. Otherwise, it's as good as gone, and you should just accept it. Because now, not only have you let Baron go, you've also fed back a kill when you're one of your team's strongest CCs. You've also let your largest tank, Shen, he has to get pushed back, so now he can't help defend this inhibitor. He'll come back, but they get the inhib, and all they pick up in return is a Blitzcrank kill. Sona now also falling, so it's now an even trade for supports. Excellent use of the Valkyrie, dodging that cocoon. Corky is just a beast right now, an absolute monster. This AP Corky is something I think I may have nightmares about. He just flies in and melts your face. Inhibitor number 2 falling down, and this is where the advantage begins to snowball. One inhibitor, usually you can come back from. It's not that difficult of a challenge. 2 inhibitors now, though, usually requires, unless you have some sort of extreme wave clear, usually requires at least 2 people to come back and protect. Shen tries to lone wolf it. We've seen that doesn't work. This is where Blue, they're now going to give back this 3rd inhibitor likely. But they're making questionable plays because they know that the game is on the line here and that they've got to make a play or they lose. Unfortunately, they're kind of giving up a lot here trying to catch people. Red, though, maybe overstaying their welcome. Rise does die. Unfortunately, Corky's still here at near full HP. Tristana comes in. She is at full HP, but this Corky's just going to boom. He blows up, but does get Tristana low enough that she dies, and now the 3rd inhibitor will die. You can see Varus and Blitzcrank. Now this here is a dicey choice. Shen is the only one left up for his team, but within a few seconds he could have the support of Sona, and she'll be at full HP, whereas Blitzcrank is not. That was an excellent pull. That was a wonderful pull, and it does, just thanks to the red buff helping him out, does lead to the death of Shen. Varus gets cocky, dies to Elise, gives the shutdown, but it's of little consequence. The super minions from the top 2 lanes are coming in, get one of the Nexus turrets, get the other one to below half. Fiddle's forced to use his Crowstorm ultimate just to clear that out. And now it's like it never even happened because here comes another set of super minions. Elise, wow, is really deep on this. Blitzcrank taunting her. And this will likely result in Elise dying. Yes. Another kill going to the 10, 4, and 8 Corki. AP Corki, no less. We look at how the items had to play out. Tristana going a fairly standard build. Blade of the Rune King, Phantom Dancer, and the Infinity Edge. This Infinity Edge means that she just pounds you. Absolutely demolishes even your tankiest members. And that's because her range, she's so ridiculously far back that it takes forever for your tanks to actually close that gap. Even if you're Jarvan or Shen where you have dives, you still may not even get all the way there in a single taunt or a single EQ Dragon Standard Lance combo from Jarvan. And then she pops the Rapid Fire and just, look at how fast these crits are coming out. I mean, this is why Tristana is considered a hyper carry and is so dangerous and deadly this late in the game. Now, it's not mattering all that much because this will be the final turret, likely the final team fight in general. Good big one there from Corki. Final turret does go down, and this is the Alamo fight for the blue team. But it's just not enough. Red is just too far ahead. Well played by Red. Excellent team fight control. Good objective control. Strong pressure from that mid lane AP Corki. Hands down the MVP of this game. And he was just too much. Blue had to commit too many resources to either deal with him or just ignore him. And they chose to ignore him, and you saw what he got. He got 2 turrets in the mid lane, was constantly picking up double buffs. He was huge. But then the other lanes, despite now having more pressure added to them by blue team, because nobody's in the mid lane at all, they still held out. Red team actually held their lanes at a disadvantage in that top and bottom due to what appeared to be pure player skill, because the combos really worked about the same in terms of the team fights and the skirmish potentials. So well played by Red. Good communication, good vision, led to strong objective control and better team fight initiation. Red knew when they could fight and how to get those fights done. So once again, well played. GG, the call is. I've been Kris Sprudeln Grey here commentating League of Legends on the Summoner's Rift, and I'd like to thank you for listening. We'll see you next time, Summoners.